I have changed my mind on Boston as this mediocre season plays out. The Celtics should wait till after the season to use their trade exception, because sometimes in life you have to lose now to win later.
Sometimes you gotta lose to win again.
I should know. I have a confession, AM Hoops. I used to smoke cigarettes. I know, it is dumb and gross and expensive, but I loved it. Eventually though, I stopped because, you know, it causes cancer, but still, quitting sucked, but I'm glad I did it. Well, the Celtics also need to quit thinking about the trade exception. This video explains why not using the trade exception now may be the hard thing to do, but it's the right thing to do for the health of this team long term. Yo, it's AM Hoops. I'm Casey Kiernan. I used to be a TV guy for years covering the NBA, but now I'm here to help put the league in perspective because it is fun to figure this game out. So Danny Ainge is under a ton of pressure. The Celtics have a giant $28.5 million tool to improve this struggling team. Before we get to how they use that tool, a little lesson. That tool is called a traded player exception, which is basically a gift card for NBA players. A team can charge on that card until the balance is zero, and no gift card has ever had as much money as the Celtics does. Trade exceptions happen when one team trades out more money than it takes back. For Boston, they sent out Gordon Hayward's $28.5 million plus 2 second rounders for 1 Hornets second round pick. The only catch is the gift card expires in 1 year, so that means they can and should wait till after the season to use it. I know it's tempting to trade for some big name now, but none of the players available will win them a title. The guy Boston needs is either a big two-way wing who can shoot, or a center that's better than what they have now. It actually would have been smart to trade Hayward for Miles Turner and Doug McDermott like the Pacers offered. Turner has ended up as a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, and McDermott is having his best offensive season. But that's in the past. Now, the options suck. I have made the case to trade for Jeremy Grant, but actually, Detroit might ask way too much. And the argument for using the traded player exception is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum could get upset. This team was supposed to take a step forward, but took a step back. They don't want to waste prime years. Well, what's wrong with that statement is both guys are under team control for a long time and have no place to demand a trade. So they should accept losing this year because every trade rumor makes no long-term sense. First, Harrison Barnes. No, I admit he is the best of these options, having one of his best seasons ever, but he's still not good enough. He's the perfect example of a guy who's talented, but not talented enough to win a championship this year. The Kings will want talented young players back, and Barnes is not worth Robert Williams or Aaron Nesmith plus picks. If they do this deal, it will only make them a little better, which hurts the team in the long run, especially with growth we've seen from Robert Williams. Also no to Kristaps Porzingis. The Mavs are gonna ask for talented young players, picks, and Kemba Walker. I agree that KP is a great fit, but he's a huge injury risk. Dallas could implode any minute with a KP injury. That would suddenly be the Celtics' problem if they did this trade. It is tempting, but it's a no. Also no to Aaron Gordon. Look, I like his defense and playmaking over Harrison Barnes, but he's still not a guy I would trade young talent for. Bottom line, Aaron Gordon has been in trade rumors for years now, right? It says a lot that no team has stepped up to come get him. And it's a no for Nikola Vucevic. Dude was an all-star for the second time this season. He fits the C's need at center. He takes a scoring load off the Jays and stretches the floor. His problem is winning big games. Look, we could dive into all the analytics, but I just don't trust a 30-year-old with 0 signature playoff moments. I would much rather use that trade exception on one of the guys after this list. And it's a no to Thaddeus Young. He has been so good for the Bulls this season, they might trade him for a package including good young players. Thad checks boxes like scoring, size, and defense, but not the timeline. There is no way Boston should give up legit assets and some of their trade exception for a 32-year-old complimentary piece. It's an obvious no for Al Horford. The last time he was great, he wore Celtics green, but that doesn't mean they should bring him back. I'm not sure how many fans actually want this move. I mean, obviously, it is not enough to beat the Nets or the Sixers. But it's a maybe for Larry Nance Jr. I actually like Larry Nance because first, he makes just $11.7 million, so Boston would have $17 million left for another move. He's also a great fit, a two-way front court player with shooting. Reports say the C's are interested, but no word on the price, and that's why it's a maybe. One report says Cleveland's got an offer on the table of multiple late first-round picks. If it costs that plus young players, it's a no. But it's a maybe also for Jeremy Grant. I will link our realistic trade video in the description, but this trade could work. Grant is actually the only trade Boston should feel good about making. He is a two-way forward with size who's young. He does have two issues. First, he probably doesn't want to go back to being a fourth option on a team. And second, the Pistons probably want all of Boston's assets. If they only want like 2 young players and 3 first-round picks though, I would do it. But the biggest problem with all those trades is none of them will win a championship this season. And there is no sense in looking backwards. Look, we all know the Celtics should have made a big move years ago for Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis, but now they should wait until the next superstar demands a trade. And that star could be Bradley Beal after the season. Beal would be amazing on the Celtics. He would make their average offense elite. Defensively, Beal's gonna improve when he's not carrying a franchise. Most people think he'll probably be moved after the season, not at the deadline. If that's true, the C's can put together a great offer for a difference maker. Another player I would hold out for is Karl Anthony Towns. Trade rumors are getting louder with every Timberwolves loss. Minnesota should keep their pick this year. They'll be loaded with really young talent. They could then see the truth. Cat's not on their timeline. Cashing him in for every Celtic asset would be a win-win. Whoever the next disgruntled superstar is, Boston will be an option, but not the only option. Other teams like the Pelicans or Thunder have a lot of assets. Even if they get outbid, most of the players we already mentioned will be available after this year. But Boston can't pay for that next superstar if they trade for some role player now. I'm telling you, losing this year will pay off with a superstar trade after the season.